Anyone still want to scan this? Done? Okay. Okay, we talked and discussed a lot here. So I hope you have gained a lot and understood quite well under this third attribute. Let's move on to the fourth one. Okay, when I skip questions, you still have to read. Okay, the best way, the least way, the laziest way is read the question, read the answer at the back. Not only during the discussion, during the class, but definitely before you go and sit on the exam. Because as I said, answers could also be found. The answers that you're looking for could also be found in the answer, the suggested solutions at the back of your module. Okay? Okay, number 4, a high degree of autonomy and independence. Okay, remember I skipped few slides before. Okay, I want you in reading this number 4, in reading this fourth attribute, because it says about autonomy, okay, and it says about self-regulation, co-regulation. There are few slides before, remember? This one. So please read this slide and this slide together with that fourth attribute. Okay, read it first. Okay, in discussing this fourth attribute, there are 3 types of regulation that you should know. The first one is normal regulation, or we call it external regulation. Okay, if you want to write it down or highlight somewhere, you can. Okay, the first one is normal regulation. Normal means external. You are being regulated by external parties. Okay. The second one is self-regulation. You regulate your own company, your own industry. And the third one, co-regulation. Co means what? The combination of the first two. The combination of two. External plus self. Okay, how do I explain this? Okay, some universities in Malaysia, they are being granted with self-accreditation status, while some other universities, they have to go through normal regulation. Meaning what? Let's say, okay, Unirazak. I'm not sure whether Unirazak is actually having a self or a normal one. Okay, a university like Unirazak, usually to ensure that the Bachelor of Accounting being offered in Unirazak is up to the standard, up to the requirements set by MIA, set by MQA. You know MQA, Malaysian Qualifying Agency. Okay. Every time the assessment is being done, Unirazak, okay, has to wait for the external parties like MIA, MQA, even CPA to come and check all the documents. You know? make sure that all the credit hours are offered, all the subjects are offered, the lecturers are all qualified. So that's normal regulation. Something like external audit, I would say. External auditor comes to your office, they do the audit. So they are coming externally, right? That's number one. Then I'm talking about the first regulation. Second regulation is self-regulation. We talk about self-accreditation. Self-accreditation meaning that some prestigious universities, they are granted with self-accreditation status. Meaning to say, they just have to prepare the documents, okay, and they will self-regulate themselves. They will check among themselves. Maybe I'm talking about internal auditors, something like that. They will audit themselves. Even maybe just a little, contribution or activities by the external, but not as much as the first one, because mainly you are doing yourself. Okay. And thirdly is the combination of two. Not only that you are doing and regulating yourself, okay, you are also being regulated and checked by the external. Okay, right. Now let's talk about accounting profession. Before all those big scandals like Enron and whatnot, accounting profession was very much highly self-regulated. For example, in the profession we created our own standards and we follow, and we check whatever penalties, whatever wrongdoings made by the members, we will settle it. Okay, but following those scandals, they may have impacted much the level of trust and confidence of the society, of the public. Our accounting profession now has become cool. A bit of autonomy has been lifted. Okay, forfeited, tarik balik because of that. Okay. So that's how you see the difference between normal, self, and co. Okay. So to answer our initial question is to say yes or no. Look at the title: high degree of autonomy and independence. Even though we are, of course, the highest one is when we are fully self-regulated. We have a very high autonomy. We can make our own decisions. But if we are co, we still have that autonomy. Okay? Unless we are in the first one, externally regulated, our autonomy is very low. Because you have no power. You just have to follow whatever that the external party asks you to do. Okay? So is it a yes for accountant? Yes, because we still have to, that one of the examples, CP Australia, they take care of the CP Australia members. The other professional bodies, they will take care of their own bodies. We don't have to ask MIA to come over. We will settle it first. We still have the autonomy to do so. Okay? Unless if we are highly regulated, we will leave it to the police to settle. Something like that. Okay? Okay, how about job number one? Any level of autonomy in the industry? Okay, let's assume the players in the industry, in the e-hailing industry. Who are the players currently? Grab, Foodpanda, okay, Shopee, okay, AirAsia and whatnot. Okay, let's say we talk about a specific niche market like food delivery, for example. Who sets the standards?
The company.
Are the companies set the standards? Do they set? Even if they do, the thing may not be consensus, may not be standardized. For example, Foodpanda says this way, Grab says that way. Okay, so very much they still need to follow what the government wants them to do. But I think they still have, because for example, the fee, there is no standard set by the government for the minimum fee. When we ride Grab car, right? I would say still co-regulated. Okay, so in this sense, we can give a yes as well to job approval. Agree? So again, any question for this attribute? And this attribute is talked about. What is autonomy in your understanding? Autonomy means what? Yeah?
Power.
Body. Autonomy, power. Yes, power. Yeah, autonomy. High level of autonomy means what? High level of power. When you have a high level of autonomy, high level of power means what? You can control. Versus if you have a very low autonomy, you got no power to say, you got no power to what? To amend, follow. Okay? Ready to go? Okay, so now 2 yeses for work. Okay, so now quick check. How many yeses? Definitely all yeses for accountant. How many yeses for rider? Only 2 so far. 2 out of 4, right? Okay. Okay, can you read this to further enhance your understanding about our co-regulation in accounting industry? Okay, so what do you understand from this example? Originally in Australia, okay, only among those professional bodies they group together and regulate their own industry. Okay, only after a certain time, a period of time, okay, they decided to team together with FRC, which is the government body. So they do their part and collaborate with the government to regulate the industry. Okay, meaning this one is only between these two, AASB and AUASB. Okay, now class 1. Okay, 1, 2, co. Right? Something like a merge between the professional bodies with the government. Okay. Okay, now the 5th one, a code of ethics. Definitely, this is yes for CPD Australia. Indeed, later during the ethics module, we have a specific topic about this APES 110 code of ethics. Okay, we are going to learn 5 codes of ethics, issued by CPA Australia. So we need to say this 5th attribute says if the job has its own code of ethics, Okay, so that means is a part of the profession actually. Okay, now does e-hailing rider e-hailing have their own kind of code of ethics? Example of code of ethics? Yeah? Oh, okay. Okay, hold that. Dressing maybe in the next attribute. In terms of ethics, you know ethics. Okay, I give you one example. Later in Module 2, there is one code of ethics called integrity. I'm sure Grab has some codes of ethics somewhere written in the terms and regulations. Before when you sign up as a rider. Maybe the least that we can think of is being a rider, you must uphold integrity. What is integrity? Honest. Very good. Honest. Being a rider, how can you be honest? Send the food to the right place at the right time. What? Don't take customer. Don't take customer. But sometimes we are too busy, tak sempat makan. The food is in front of us. Sikit kita boleh ambil fries satu.
Jahat lah.
Okay. If you think it is important, you won't do. Correct? Right. So, code of ethics in CPA Australia we have 5. Maybe we assume they do have. They must have. Otherwise,
Confidentiality, sir.
Confidentiality. Yeah. Grab.
Customer.
Yes. Not only for maybe not for the rider. Maybe yes for the rider, but definitely a big yes for the company because when you order, you share your address. Okay, remember there are some rules governing your privacy protection. Okay, so that is how you see confidentiality is also part of corruption. What do you think other than that? Other than integrity, confidentiality in e-hailing, safety. Okay, to always ensure safety. Okay, at all time. Okay, all hands. During the ride, before the ride, after the ride, off the record, on the record, you have to issue. Okay, that's how you see. It depends. You can create your own one. So I would say yes for both job 1 and job 2. Okay? Yeah, this is one. Okay, tell me. Okay, I think your generation, you should know this language better than me. TikTok language, How do you tell people you are an accountant without telling them that you are an accountant? How do you tell people you are an accountant without telling them that you are an accountant?
Debit credit.
Bring laptop everywhere.
Debit credit, sir.
Okay, how do you tell people you are a rider without telling them that you are a rider? Bag hijau. Bag the shirt. Right. Are we answering the question?
Yes.
We are telling people we are running Grab without telling them. How do you tell people you are a doctor without telling them that you are a doctor?
Bawa stethoscope.
Bring a stethoscope.
Everywhere.
Go to Intermark. Just to tell them you are a doctor. Accountant? Calculator. At least okay lah, calculator okay lah. No. Being stingy.
Oh,
Kena kod?
kena kod. Yes.
Kan?
Sesuai karakter
Betul tak?
saya.
Ke saya je? Okey. Faham? Dia nak tik ni. Okey. Where am I? Yeah. How to tell people. You always like that. Okay, one more. How to tell in the drama. How to tell people you are a university student without telling them you are a university student. Magic card. Bring lots of file. Masuk file jatuh. You see, some, if not all, most of the professions, they at least have their own kind of distinctive ethos or culture. Lawyer, how do you call, what do you call that? Wig.
Itu hakim ke? Judge ke?
As long as you know what it is, you know the wig. Yeah,
They have
the
their
bow tie. Chef.
Kawan-kawan.
Topi tinggi. Apron. White shirt. Doctor is stethoscope. And so on and so forth. Rider and so on. Okay? Right?
Sabrina,
Okay?
Sabrina.
So now tell me, you want to give yes for both? It's a yes for rider, right?
Yes.
What else other than the bag, other than the shirt, that you want to tell people you are a rider? Sticker. Sticker. Okay. Like if you're driving a Grab, you have to put the sticker. E-hailing. Right? During my time, we got this lamp, you know, Grab lamp. I think that you see some cars they have that. If possible, I don't want to tell people that I'm driving a Grab, you know, especially if I'm driving nearby my office. I don't tell you I'm driving a Grab, but they give me that lamp with the name behind that lamp. So I don't put that. I didn't put that in my car. Okay, agree? So yes for the rider. Are you going to say yes for the accountant?
Yes.
At least we have CPA Australia after our name. See?
Anda mana?
CPA Australia.
You baru tahu.
Rider?
Orang US ambil.
Nak kena apa kan? Let's say it's not that you cannot put, but there is nothing to put.
US.
But you still they have even obvious way to tell people, you know, that they are right. And they should be proud. Like us, only by giving your name card. That's why every time I enter into a new class, like last month, not to say that I want to show that okay, I have GPA, I have PhD to share with you, but this is how you show that okay, this is how to gain the acceptance of the community. And the credibility. You want to break the ice. Okay, I think for you it's okay because our age gap is different. Sometimes I teach people older than me. You know, I still remember this one time. I taught this group of students, you know, working adults, and during that time I was still 20 plus. Okay, during the time, and after the class, you know, one of these kakak came to me and told me, you know what, JB, some of us look at you as anak ikan, you know. Because they are much older than me during the time, and I think it's all about ego. How do you feel? Let's say today, in front of you here, if not me, someone younger than you teach CPA, still can, but at least you understand.
The acceptance.
The acceptance, it takes time to accept. And that is the reason why the common way to break the ice is to show your qualifications. Break the ice. Okay, and that's why your CPA Australia behind your name is important. So be proud, because you know it's not that easy for you to achieve that title and use that accordingly. Not to show off, but that's how you bring yourself in the industry.
Tak tengok lagi.
Okay? Done? So 2 yeses. Okay, very good. Okay, 7. Application of professional judgment. Okay, this one is a grey area for us to say yes or no or in between. But I would accept both. Okay, read first. What does it mean by professional judgment? And you have to also differentiate between a judgment and professional judgment. A normal judgment and professional judgment. Okay, I think one good example to illustrate professional judgment is if you can think of a pilot. Tadi you buat dulu itu pilot kan? Bukan? I thought you are thinking the same thing. Being a pilot, you are in an emergency. Itu saya nak fly, takut kat emergency tu. Saya hatulah. During an emergency, the pilot has to decide where to land. What to do is number one, where to land. This thing doesn't happen frequently. Okay, and this thing, in that sense, this thing requires a quick professional judgment. There are 2 pilots, okay, in the cockpit. One is very experienced, one is, junior pilot. Okay? Imagine if both are junior pilot. They still can do professional judgment, but may not be as good or as comprehensive as the experienced one. Okay? So, meaning to say, the ability to come up with a professional judgment is usually through experience. And only with that experience you can come up with professional. Okay, how can accountant? Is there any example that accountant also can be part of this professional judgment? Example. Audit, correct? Want to merge? Want to advise about merger and acquisition? You want to advise on the company, for the company to wind up? In the case of bankruptcy, okay, some when you have that professional judgment, if you let's say if you are currently advising a company that is badly having a loss, okay, if you are so good, if you are not having any experience, you will straightly say you're having a loss. Stop it. You're having a loss. Let's say out of 3 products, one is suffering losses. So if you don't have any experience or knowledge, you can say, anyone can simply say, stop it, concentrate on the other 2. But if you have knowledge and experience, you might think, if we stop this, the loss can become even worse. I think you learn this in MBA, right? Continue versus discontinue. You guys learn that? The rule of thumb in this kind of case, continue versus discontinue. It doesn't mean that when the product is running a loss, you should stop. Okay, I'll give you one example. Do you know Linda On?
Linda On.
Know Linda On? The DJ, Linda on Chicken Rice. Okay, it's okay. Whoever it is, whether you know her or not. Okay, that is a restaurant, a chicken rice restaurant chain called Linda on Chicken Rice. Okay. The restaurant is quite popular. The food is good, and to start the story, nearby my house, a few years ago, many years ago, they opened one branch nearby my house. For your information, I'm staying in Shah Alam, Section 7, area UITM. So you can expect, the market is student. To my surprise, they didn't do well for that branch, but for the other branches they did. I assume only in that branch they didn't do well. How do I know? Because I bypassed the restaurant here and there. I could see very less people buying the food. During that time, in my mind, I was thinking, why didn't they just straightly close? Because after a while, even though we know and everyone knows that the restaurant is not having so much of customers, they still open. Until at one particular point, then I saw, okay, no more already. Meaning to say here, it took a long time for the owner to stop. So my point of discussion here is, maybe they have calculated, if they stop immediately, they will suffer even greater losses. Okay, logically how? Because at least when you open, you still have revenue, right? Right, to cover fixed costs. But when you stop, definitely you don't have that revenue from that branch. But the fixed cost is still has to be paid, at least for a number of months. Get what I mean? So until they decided to stop. So again, going back to our professional judgment, if the person who advised that restaurant not to stop immediately, that shows that the advisor, the so-called advisor for the restaurant is having a good professional judgment. If you don't have that professional judgment, you might say, tutup je lah. Got that? Okay, now I want to say yes for accountant. Can we assume the person who advised is someone from the finance or accounting background? Okay, any situation for the e-hailing rider to be involved in professional judgment?
Yes.
When? When you arrive at the destination, the customer doesn't show up. After 10 minutes, the food is with you. What should I do with this food? Nanti siapa nak makan, ni boleh makan. Okay, what do you think? What should you do?
Take the food. Balik je dah makan.
Return the food. But you are the next job is waiting. Got no time to go back. Yeah?
I think it depends on the payment type.
Oh, it depends. Okay, if it is not yet
banking, then we just let the food. If customer do cash, we take the food, dispose or kita our
yeah. See, you have to think, right? Does it mean can it be considered as your professional judgment as well?
Yes.
And how did you come out with that kind of decision? Based on your experience, right? Yes. If not from you, from your friends.
From my friend's story.
Yes, see, at least from your community. It is not like a logic 1 or 0, yes or no. It is beyond yes or no. Right? Let's say if you say no with What? With celebration. If yes, yes with celebration. Not just simple logic. 1 and 0. Yes or no. You have to think. Like I said lah. Okay. If you want to return, you want to eat, you want to dispose, you have to think. Okay. Alright. Because the key point here is to diagnose and solve complex. Unstructured means what? Something that is not frequently happening. If structured is frequent, like working as an operator in a factory, you are working in a structured environment because every day you do the same thing. Okay, being an accountant, you might be dealing with semi-structured or even unstructured because you are dealing with different companies, different clients, different engagement, and that requires you to have a good professional judgment. Okay, tell me, I think it might be too early for me to ask you this, but tell me, how do you feel so far taking CPA as compared to your normal degree subject?
Very complicated.
Very complicated, more struggle,
Pressure.
I think you are yet to feel even more pressure because you are yet to try the question. Unlimited pressure, okay? Right?
Infinity.
Okay, good. So that's how you come up with professional judgment. Okay, now this is not the same story as what I did in my degree. So I have to adjust my study style, my reading style, my reading habit, the way that I look at the points, the discussion. This is how, because this is, you are on your way to make up your mind to be able to make a professional judgment later in the future. Okay? Alright, so both, yes. Alright, and number 8, the existence of a governing body. Okay, who governs us as an accountant? MIA. Okay, in Malaysia it's MIA. In CPA we have CPA Australia. Okay, above the standards we have MRC. Who governs job number 1? Which specific ministry? MOT. MOT? Yes. Ministry of Transportation. You have to ensure that. Okay, the reason why I stopped driving Grab, because that was the moment when the government asked the drivers to apply for PSV license. Before that it wasn't. We didn't have to have a PSV license to drive Grab, but I think now, starting from 2019, that made me stop it. Because I was just driving casually, just part-time. So I don't, unless if you are doing it for full-time, you need to. Like for my case last time, I didn't think, because to apply for that PSV, remember, you have to ensure that your car is in good condition and must be sent to Puspakok for inspection. So it cost me money, it cost a lot, so I didn't think that, okay, it's time for me to stop. Okay, and who governs the industry? Yes, MOD and some others. Okay, so I would say yes for both. Accountants, any specific industry that governs us? And why? And why? Okay. All right. Any question? We have successfully completed Module 1 Part A. We still have one more part to go for Module 1. Okay, so this is the summary. Okay, I assume most of the keywords that we discussed so far are all here. These are all the 8 attributes. Each attribute has its own sub-keywords for you to bring along, for you to understand. Okay. Okay, for the rest, I think you just have to read through. This is specifically under CP Australia. What are the sanctions available for a member if anyone involved in unprofessional behavior? Okay. Okay, all done. Okay, want to do the question first or go and have a break first? Question first. Okay. This is your very first question for you to try and test power your index. How's your index going? How is your how's your index going? How many words? 7?